Hi, it's Henry.
And Stella from Meeple University. Welcome to our review of Northgard Uncharted Lands. Now, this is based on the video game called Northgard. This particular board game plays 2 to 5 players and by Studio H. So we are going to give you an overview of the game and our reviews. And I think Henry also has played just a little bit of the video games, so we'll share you a bit about that as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it, Henry.
Yeah, so Northgard Uncharted Lands, it's a deck building 4X game. So it's really much focuses on the 4X aspects, expanding, exploring, combat, and it does this through the medium of deck building. So you'll have cards that will let you move, will let you build buildings, will let you explore new lands, and players will be attempting to gain the most fame over the course of the game. You'll get fame by exploring new territories, controlling territories, and some certain factions and clans will have different ways of gaining points as well. So there's a number of factions, and they all have different asymmetric powers.
Let's have a look on the board.
Yeah. So here I've got a game, an example game that me and Stella started playing, and then I've filled it in a little bit more here out on the board. And this is what your game may look like if you're probably about halfway through a game of Northgard. So out here we've got it set up for 2 players.
About 4 rounds maybe?
About 4 rounds in. And we've got some buildings out here. We've got our people exploring lands. And we've also got some animals that are interrupting us.
Yeah.
And these animals will... this is a module, so you don't have to play with them. And I do recommend for your first game, maybe don't include them. I think they'll...
Yeah.
But after your first game, get them in there, I reckon, because it makes the early game a bit more interesting. And what you're going to be doing is you have a deck of cards, and at the start of every turn, you'll draw 4 of these cards into your hand. These cards at the top will have symbols, and these symbols, there are 4 different symbols, and these are the 4 main actions that you'll do in the game. One is to recruit. To recruit, you simply put a person in a land that you currently control, and that's any lands with your people in it. To move, you will select a group of units, and for every move action you have, you'll be able to move that unit 1 space. Some lands like this one have difficult terrain that require more movement, and you can also move into enemy lands controlled by your enemy, and then once you've finished all your movement, you'll start a combat with that fight with that enemy. You've got the build action. Build will let you build these buildings out here. Small ones for 1 wood, big ones for 3 wood. And these will gain you more resources, affect combat, and also affect your recruit action. Also can generate you fame and generate you cards between rounds. And the last action is to explore, where if you're in an open territory, so one that doesn't have the borders all closed, you'll pick the top card of here, and then put that card into a territory. Either creating new finished territories like this, or expanding an open territory to make it longer. Exploring will give you victory points. If you close territories, you'll score points equal to how big the territories are. And you also gain points based on territory size every harvest phase, where if you have a big territory, you'll get 2 fame. If you have a small territory, you'll get 1 fame every single harvest phase.
That's end of round, isn't it?
That's the end of round.
Yep.
So you'll play your 4 cards that you drew during that round, possibly more if you have cards that let you draw more cards, or buildings that let you draw more cards between rounds.
Or less, if you don't want to play all of them.
Yep. And yeah, that's correct. So you may want to pass earlier. So if you want to pass earlier, that's good, because you get to go first next round if you're the first one to pass. And you'll also get your first pick of cards you want to add to your deck. And these cards, you draw cards equal to the number of players. So if you're playing with 4 players, there'll be 4 cards to pick from.
Yeah.
And you might see a card there that really that you really need for the next turn.
Yeah.
And these cards that you pick, they go on top of your deck, ready to draw for your next turn.
I always like that, so I don't have to wait.
You don't have to wait, no. So it's like some immediate deck building in there. And your starting hand is only 6 cards. So yes, you got a lot of room, and you've got a bit of ways that you can remove cards from your deck and get special clan cards into your deck as well. So you've got ways that you can really manipulate things in terms of deck building, but it is very much focused on this board And this board will grow quite large throughout the course of the game, especially if you play with 4 or 5 players.
Yes.
It's expanding everywhere all over your table, and it's really, really interesting. Like there's a lot of things going on. So
by the end of 7 rounds,
by 7 rounds for sure. Yeah.
So how do people win?
Yeah. So every harvest phase, you'll be generating victory points for your territories. You also gain victory points to removing these threats that come out onto the board, these different animals and other creatures that may come out onto the board, like Valkyries and things. You don't get victory points for combat unless I think it's a particular faction that may do that. So it's not so focused on combat, but you may want to jump in and steal someone's buildings or something like that to generate more resources. There is another way of winning though, and that's in regards to large territories, so ones that are not spread across 3 different tiles, and having these bigger buildings, these rank 2 buildings in those territories. If you control 3 of these at the end of a round, you will immediately win the game. Ooh. So if you see someone who's got 2 large territories with 2 large buildings, you've got to be really careful to either maybe steal one of those territories off that person, or just see any potential areas where they might be able to sneak an extra big territory and building in before the end of the round.
So either that or at the end of the
Otherwise,
7th round.
if no one manages to do that, which is quite hard, at the end of 7 rounds, everyone will have an amount of fame that's hidden from the other players, and you'll all flip those face up, and whoever's got the most fame at that stage will win. One thing I didn't mention is there is some upkeep as well, so this is where you can stop the leader. So the more troops you have out on the board, you have to pay an upkeep cost.
Feed your meeple!
So you have to feed them, and they normally just cost food, but if you get like all 13 or 14 warriors onto the board, they start costing food and wood every round.
Yeah. Could be expensive.
Yeah, so they get really expensive, and it's just a way to slow down that person who's just getting too big. So
I guess that person that's getting too big also has territory to give them.
They're probably generating more resources as well. Yeah, that's right. That's an overview. So that's basically everything you need to know
to get into it and just feel how it is. So what do you think, Hen?
Yeah, so I've played this a couple times. I played it twice in a row with a group of 4, and we all really enjoyed it. Our first game, everyone just learning the deck building. We had the animal modules added in for that first game, and it was fun. Everyone was enjoying themselves. They're all gathering fame, but then someone won by getting 3 territories and ending the game.
Yeah.
And that's maybe edges on a little bit of the criticism that I have, where I was fine with it, but some people were excited to reveal their fame points at the end of the game and reveal what they've done throughout and the sense of achievement, and that kind of robbed them of that moment of revealing those fame points. I think it's there. I think it's an important rule to have, and I think it's just something that as a group plays more, that they'll learn, make sure you stop, be aware that the game can end early if someone gets those 3 territories. I think someone just left a territory undefended that they didn't think the other player was going to take.
Yeah.
And they came and swept it in at the end of the round and won snatched victory. So there's that. And then because that was the way it ended, everyone's like, well, we want to play again, basically. So we set it up straight up again.
Yeah.
And really good. It's the deck building is nice. It's because you have such a small deck, and you need to collect these rune tokens from the board to manipulate your deck. So some games you'll be able to manipulate it a lot, and other games if you're not generating those rune tokens, you'll have to find other ways to deal with your deck. Maybe passing early so you can only get cards that you really like into your deck, that kind of thing. And there's a lot of variability in the game, which I think is great. So the order that these animals can come out onto the board will really change up your game. These are going to be roaming the board, interrupting, resource gathering, building, movement, and also just killing people on the board. And you can take these out, and they've got a combat value on the cards, and they do give you points. It's a bit of work and setup to make that happen. And for the first maybe 3 rounds at least, they're going to be causing a bit of havoc and headaches for everyone out on the board. So that's quite fun.
Speaking about replayability, there's also clan powers. So each one has got, there are several
seven clans.
Seven clans, and each one has got slight asymmetric power. Now, it's good to have asymmetric power, and you can feel different strategies for each one, but it's not too asymmetric that it's too confusing. I feel like this is made for kind of like more entry levels of 4X, and it actually is suitable. Like, it looks cute, the artwork is awesome. You can see the cartoonish style of artwork. The board looks like really kind of like it's friendly, like family friendly type of thing. It's not too complex. It's powered by deck building, right?
It's great because the cards mostly are based around those 4 symbols, which are movement, explore, build, and recruit. So those are the 4 actions that you can do really in the game. There's some cards that add like more different powerful little actions.
Yes.
But they don't take away from that core. And that core is really strong and it's straightforward and simple, and I think that allows more time for everyone to focus on what they're doing. There's no rule edge case stuff going on. Everyone can really focus on what they're doing out here and know, of course you can move and attack me. Like, there's no hidden surprise thing going on, which is nice. Really
exactly. So this is what differs Northgard Uncharted Lands to other 4X games. Number one is like the video games. Like, how does that compare with video games?
It captures a bit of the element. I think it's pretty hard to translate.
I know, it's
game
always
like that,
the challenge.
Where it's like a real-time game where you're building in real time and managing stuff a lot, to a board game version.
Turn-based.
I love the art and the feel of the land and like the idea of these creatures, and you kind of like, what is it, like Viking, Northgard? Like, it's based in its own world, but it's inspired by
the Viking Northgard. Well, I played like things like Warcraft and Starcraft, and it's kind of a bit like that. Although that's actually 4X PC or video games. It's the PC games that I played in, and that's like you building your things, you moving to other people's territory, but obviously with that one, you build first, then attack later.
And that's similar to Northgard. So in Northgard, it's very much encourages you to expand first and then attack later. And that's the same here. There is room for early combat if you want, and you're not that punished because if you lose units, you pay less upkeep, which can be actually beneficial at the start. You have too many mouths to feed. That's not great.
That happens in one of our games. I'm like, oh, now I don't have to pay for feed my meeple. Oh, great. But for some meeple, wow, that's fine.
That's fine.
It's interesting. So that's replayability is good, and then
and also adding to replayability are these power cards.
Yes.
How does you only draw a small deck of these that you're going to draw throughout the game, and these will have different actions. Some will let you do lots of movement, some will let you draw cards from your deck and cycle through your deck a lot more. Some will add to bonus to attack, some will let you explore better, and the cards that you put into your deck that are available is random. So you've got this huge deck of cards that do different things and different ways of playing and different ways to focus on getting victory points, and this is going to change every game. So in the first game I played, there were very few movement cards that actually came out and were in the deck. And it was maybe one player getting most of those movement cards. So a lot of the players were really restricted as to where they can move, and there was like a mountain range that went down the middle of the map that was causing a real problem for two players who both knew that each other couldn't cross that mountain range. Neither player had a card that granted 2 movement, which was enough to get across.
Well, speaking
which
about
added a nice dynamic.
Yes. Replayability. The only one downside I think I would say is that the fact that you only, without the special action, you only take one of these when you explore rather than choosing from 2. I don't know. It might be okay, but at least, you get to choose from what side you can put it on. And it's not that many difference. Obviously, there's different resources that you can do, different building spots and whatnot. For example,
having those cards that let you draw 2 is great. Especially if you include these animal modules, because these cards can really be a problem.
Yes.
And if you get one that has a monster den and one that doesn't, then you'd be very tempted not to put that monster den out and spawn that monster.
For example, the Raven clan, they have that card that lets you pick 2 tiles and choose from one.
Yeah, and they also can when they close a territory, they get the resources on
Yeah.
the territory they close, as well as the victory points. So
That's probably my favorite one.
yeah.
So yeah, that's how I think it differs from other 4Xs. For younger, for more entry levels, it's really smooth.
I mean, I play a lot
Easier.
of 4Xs.
I know, yeah. This is why Henry's here as well.
yeah,
Part of
yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah, so, me and my group, we all really enjoyed this. We didn't find it, like, lacking anything that the other ones did. It had, I wouldn't say it's necessarily entry, but it's, it's simpler on rule set than a lot of other
Yes, right.
4Xs, but it has just as many, like, deep decisions and that kind of thing that you want.
That you want, exactly.
And I think if you're, I wouldn't necessarily always pick it over another one, but it plays a bit shorter than a lot of them do, and it's a lot easier to teach than a lot of other 4X games, which makes it far more likely to get to your table than those bigger ones where you need 3 or 4 hours and like maybe half an hour to an hour to teach everyone what's going on. So I think it fills in a really nice gap that's in the market where some 4Xs go too light and they don't have enough going on the board, but this gives you plenty to think about and satisfying engine, like resource gathering, engine building, and
without being overwhelming.
Yeah. And I really like these map tiles. I think the way they connect together and form lands is just really clever. I'm pretty big on my hex grid maps.
I know.
This I probably like more. Like this I really like that some lands are spread across the whole map, and then like there's just a huge like landmass in the middle that everyone wants because it's worth so many resources. And everyone, if you take that landmass, it's kind of like having that center building in Twilight Imperium, where it's like everyone wants the middle place.
Exactly.
If you're in the middle place, everyone wants to get you out of the middle place.
Yeah.
So it's at your own peril if you take it.
That's it. Well, that's basically it. Is Northgard. Anything else, Hen?
No. I think that's just about covered everything I wanted to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. Recommend this if you like this sort of game, 4X. Even though if you don't like 4X, you don't mind a bit of a territory building. It's quite nice engine. The Euro gamers would probably like the deck building. Although it's not full deck building, you can't really buy. You only get the card usually when you pass.
Yeah, so you're only going to get a total of 6 extra cards in your deck that are like going to add new actions.
So pick your cards right.
I mean, you can actually buy more. You can buy your clan upgrade
That's
cards.
right, yeah.
So you can get up to 8 cards, and you could remove some of your starting cards. You could have 8 customized cards and maybe like 4 starting cards left over. So it very much becomes your own deck by the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a slow build up. You don't just chuck lots of cards in from the get go.
I do like that simplicity, and then I do like that feeling of slightly deck building, and the icons are really easy to see and do as you say.
There's only very few icons in this game. Iconography is nice. Yeah.
For sure. So that's it. Really recommend this if you like that sort of game. 4X, simple version that still scratch the itch of 4X games. And hopefully, somehow you enjoy this. If you do, it would be really helpful.
Somehow enjoy. Wow, Stella.
Thanks. Somehow you enjoy it.
Was I that bad?
No. I'm just being like modest, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Hopefully you enjoy it.
Yes.
And if you do, please hit the like button. That will be really helpful to us. And subscribe if you haven't already done so. You can hit the bell also so you get notification for video reviews like this, how to play, solo playthrough by Henry, another playthrough on the weekend, my short and sweet, and so on. You can find Henry also at Let's Start Playing, his own YouTube channel, and mainly covers the digital games, Board Game Arena, Tabletop Arena, whatever, so on. I'm also on Instagram, find me there as well, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.